or visit us online at foreverstonememorials.com. Memorials that matter.
Community is important, and you'll find it at Pioneer Point. Spacious apartments, thoughtfully designed for older adults, provide the best in senior living. Heated parking and elevator access makes life easy. Your neighbors at Pioneer Point hold a welcoming, family-like approach to living. Choosing from an array of special features and options, you'll find many ways to define your lifestyle at Pioneer Point. Call or schedule your tour online today at pioneercare.org.
Hungry for a deal? FergusFallsDeals.com has your next meal covered. Dig into local favorites like the Gobbler Grub and Pub, VFW Post 612, and Hillbillies Depot. Savor a bite at Big Whitey's Bar and Grill. Farm-to-table flavors from La Ferme in Alexandria. Discover decadent tastes at Parallel 46 or the famous Broaster Chicken at the Purple Palace. Feed your cravings and save at FergusFallsDeals.com. At FergusFallsDeals.com.
It's Morning Talk on News Talk 1250 KBRF, brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
Good Wednesday morning. It is, I got to hit a button here.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Now it can be Wednesday morning.
All right, now it can be Wednesday morning.
Now it can be Wednesday.
Oh, boy, here it is. One more hot day if you don't like this 90s stuff. It hasn't felt like 90s in the summer, though, because we haven't had the terrible humidity with it.
And it's been windy.
But I am sure sick of that wind. Oh, my goodness. They say that wind can drive people crazy. I'm about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has been just rolling into the cabin. The waves have been, in fact, if we stand on our front step, you can feel the spray from the waves.
Oh, wow.
That's how high the waves have been. It's been awful.
At least you've got water.
Well, we've got water. Yeah, true. I guess I should be grateful for that. But it sounds like we're going to get some much needed rain.
Yes.
And do we start seeing it tonight? Maybe.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow, probably.
Late tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, we could sure use it. That is, I mean, our lawns are starting to look like it's the end of July instead of the end of May.
Yeah.
Well, it's mid-May even.
Yep.
Yeah, middle of May. Oh, my goodness. So 1 week from this weekend is Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And we could use, I know a lot of people head to the lakes or go do things outside and a lot of barbecuing and that kind of stuff. And I just hope we get some much needed rain between now and then so we don't have to worry about that awful fire danger. Because I think it's really a big deal, especially with all this wind.
Yep.
So we have to be careful with that. Here it is, middle of the work week already. I like that.
Yeah.
And as I look ahead, no real plans for the weekend.
That is always the best.
Do you know, I always say no plan is the best plan. You know, if you'd have asked me 20 years ago, I would have said, okay, what are we going to do Friday night? We got to have something to do. What are we going to do Saturday night? Who should we call? And I was crazy about having something to do.
That would have drove me nuts.
I drove me nuts. And my husband, sure enough. But now it feels so good if you don't have anything,
Yeah.
You know, like last weekend, usually fishing opener weekend is super fun, I think. And it's not because I fish. And John is gone the whole weekend. You know, he's, he'll be in the boat. He'll come home for half an hour and then he's back out in the boat. And anyway, but there's usually people to do stuff with on the fishing opener. And for whatever reason this last weekend, kind of nobody was around. And so it was kind of a boring one. But I didn't mind. I got a lot of reading done. I finished a book. I'm starting another one. And I had a friend give me a list of, I've talked about this author that I've really liked, Kristen Hanna.
Yep.
And a friend of mine gave me a list of Kristen Hanna books that she has. And she said, borrow them anytime. And as I look through the list, I think out of about a dozen, I think there's only 2 that I haven't already read. So anyway.
Well, you got 2 more you can read.
I know. I have been just charging through those books, and I've given a couple of them as gifts. I've got one of my aunts just loves to read, actually 2 of them. And I know that these are books that they would love. In fact, the one that got me started on Kristen Hanna was The Women, and that came as a recommendation from my aunts. They said, you got to read this, and that's what started my thing with the Kristen Hanna as the author. So I've sent a couple of the books to them as well and said, okay, now I read this one. Here's one for you guys. So, and it's kind of fun, even if you read on a Kindle, and I know one of my aunts does, you can send them the Kindle version electronically.
Okay.
So that's kind of nice too. And then they get it immediately.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. Well, it happened. Of course, the left is never going to look at what's happening in the Trump administration now, just over 100 days into this administration. They're never going to look at it and say, wow, he's keeping his promises. Things are moving ahead. We see these tariffs. We see these other countries kind of, coming to their knees and saying, okay, uncle, you got us. Let's go to the table. Let's talk. But I see a lot of that happening. And don't you feel like a little relief when you see kind of some of the things that are happening?
Yeah, I'd kind of like, it's kind of nice.
Moving in the right direction, certainly. And I think when a country like China says, okay, let's talk, then I feel like we've gotten somewhere, because the other countries, they didn't last a week, and they were saying, okay, we throw in the towel. What do you need? What do you want?
I want to start seeing the prices of stuff going down. Then I'll be like, then we're doing good.
And we have seen gas go down a little bit, and it's going to take some time for that. But yeah, I think we will see. I don't think those tariffs were in place long enough for us to have seen the increase.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we saw increases due to the tariffs. What I did see is a lot of people shopping for a lot of things before the tariffs took a hold. So it probably boosted some sales in some regard.
One thing I've got a question on. My dad told me a little bit about this. He's placed an order of some stuff through a catalog, and all of a sudden he got a notification that it won't be shipped.
Oh.
So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if anybody else is dealing with that issue.
I don't know. Anyway, overnight, House GOP moves Trump's agenda forward. They had an all-night committee debate. House of Representatives tax writing panel took a key step in advancing the president's tax agenda, and they finished a marathon session that began with lawmakers entering a cavernous and chilly room in the Longworth House office building just after 2 p.m. yesterday, and it went all night long. The House Ways and Means Committee advanced its portion of Trump's, what he calls, one big, beautiful bill. Doesn't that sound like Donald Trump?
Yeah.
One of 11 committees working on the effort that will then be part of one massive piece of legislation. It happened despite a barrage of protest and amendments lobbed by Democratic lawmakers in a bid to slow proceedings down and make Republicans take politically tricky votes. The Energy and Commerce Committee and the Ways and Means Committee both held meetings through the night to debate and advance key parts of President Trump's bill. The former's meeting is expected to go into this afternoon, and the Ways and Means Committee advanced its portion early this morning on a 26-19 vote. So things moving ahead, and as I look at it, a lot of promises being kept.
Which confuses people.
It does.
Anytime you're dealing with politicians and they're like, I promised to do this, you guys go, sure. And all of a sudden, somebody's actually doing their promises. It confuses people.
Yeah. Okay, so yesterday we talked about I think it's called isn't it the state of Qatar, or is that a country? I can never remember.
It's just what it's called, the state
Okay.
of Qatar.
Okay.
But Qatar, yeah, is a country.
Okay, but they refer to it as the state of Qatar, don't
Yeah.
they? Anyway, so they want to give President Trump a new Boeing whatever, big giant plane.
Very bad idea.
A very bad idea. Well, and it doesn't even make any sense.
No.
First of all, Trump was heard saying, well, I would be a stupid person if I turned down somebody giving me a plane. Well, maybe. If you're going to use it for personal stuff down the road, maybe. But they said it would take about 3 years and over $1 billion to go through the plane. They basically would have to take it all apart
Piece by piece.
to make sure that there aren't any listening devices,
Yep.
there aren't any devices that could, potentially blow up or whatever. And they would have to beef it up in such a way
Yep.
that it would be over $1 billion, and it would take 3 years. Well, thanks for the gift, but no thanks.
Yeah.
So anyway, it doesn't. I think Trump so far is the only guy that said, "Gee, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that."
He is the only person that thinks
Yeah.
this is a good idea.
It doesn't sound like a good idea to me
No,
either. But did you
no.
see the inside of the plane? How
Oh,
would
it
you
looks
like
nice.
that to be your plane?
It looks very nice.
Although it didn't look like there was much room for, the press and that sort of thing. Air Force One. Haven't they been working on a new Air Force One now for a long time? I realize
Yeah, for like 10 years.
It takes a long time, I know, but really 10 years?
Yeah, if I remember right, that's what they said. It's been about 10 years since it's been approved.
Wow. That's, yeah. That's taken a long time.
Yeah.
Here's my other question, as long as we're on talking about airplanes. We're hearing so much about a couple of these airports in particular.
Newark.
But
yeah.
Newark being kind of the one that's really getting the business. And Sean Duffy, who is the transportation secretary, is saying everything is so outdated. How did we get so far behind in technology with regard to something that millions of people use every single day? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Who dropped that ball?
I don't know.
I mean, we're talking about things like radar,
Yeah.
and they have to beef it up with fiber optic. I'm like, who has been sitting on this? Why are we in the dark ages with regard to,
How
and
stuff is
maybe
done,
I'm
yeah.
not understanding it, but and maybe I'm watching the wrong TV, but when I see and read about these kinds of things, it kind of just sounds like, gosh, this is really outdated. We got to do something. Well, no kidding. But how did it get so far behind is my question.
Yeah.
Because it seems like now, just to get somebody up to speed, if you decided you wanted to be an air traffic controller today,
Yep.
you wouldn't be behind the controls for probably 3 years.
Which, oddly enough, is a good thing. It means they're properly
Yes.
trained. But
Yes.
if you got a bunch
But how
of
do
people
we
quit, yeah.
how do we speed up that process? How do we determine, how do we get people in those places more quickly? They keep talking about, getting more people to sign up to be
Yeah.
air traffic controllers. That's great. But still, we're going to be behind for 3 years. My other question is, why all of a sudden is it a problem?
Yeah. Why hasn't it been a problem before?
I just until now. And
Or why
Yeah.
hasn't it been brought to light before?
well, I think it's just now becoming a problem because we see these 90-second outages where
That's a bad thing.
that is a bad thing. Although I was reading yesterday, and at most aircraft and the pilots that fly them have systems in place. If an outage should occur,
Yeah.
they know what to do, and they are able to see other planes around them. Now, landing might be a little dicey. So I guess you circle and circle. I don't know, but it just feels like all of a sudden everything just fell apart.
Yep.
So I don't know. And Newark being the one that is taking it in the shorts.
And
kinda.
that's tragic in a couple of ways because you got these poor souls who are actually going into New York or Newark, and so they end up in New Jersey. So that's kind of sad. Plus, you hate to have
Well,
issues.
but I think of the traffic going in and out of New York City.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do fly into Newark who are going into New York City because, you just hop on a train or whatever. And so it's considered one of 3 New York airports.
Yeah.
But how long, now the question becomes, how long till some other airports are experiencing those kinds of things? In fact, Atlanta just had some of those same kinds of issues, and that's a huge airport.
Yeah. I've flown in and out of Atlanta a lot.
And a big hub for Delta. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm looking at booking some flights in the fall, and I'm thinking, is it going to be this chaotic next fall?
Yeah.
You add that, all of that, and then the real ID. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Glad I'm not going to an airport for a while. Well, you talked about prices dropping. You're looking for it. Well, U.S. egg retail prices saw a decline in April. I think last time I bought them, they were just under $5.
Well, that's better.
Yeah, that's better. I remember buying them for like $1.12.
I remember buying it for $8.
$8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I did once too. That was 18 though, wasn't it? Was it 18 eggs?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I can't remember either.
I'm a guy. I grabbed a carton and
You
bought
don't
it.
care what's in it, right? Okay, the average price for a dozen grade A eggs fell by 12.7% to $5.12, marking the first decrease since October of 2024. Despite this decrease, prices still hover near historic levels. And this isn't due to tariffs and all that business. It's due to bird flu and that outbreak, which of course devastated egg-laying hen populations, and that's why we see the higher prices. So you can't blame that one on the president, although they will try. And if you have been hoping for your whole life for Pete Rose to be
In the Hall of Fame.
reinstated and potentially into the Hall of Fame, you might get your wish. They decided that he couldn't cause any more trouble because he's dead. So actually somebody said that. They said, well, it's not like he can cause any harm to Major League Baseball anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, no, probably not. But isn't it too bad that he wasn't, they didn't come up with this before he died. What was that, like 7 or 8 months ago?
8 months ago.
Yeah. So anyway, this development, of course, could permit his induction into the Hall of Fame. President Trump has emphasized Rose's achievements all along. He's been behind him, and he did admit that he did gamble. He never
gambled on Red Sox games.
on his team, but still, he
Gambled on baseball.
Right. All right. I guess that is about it. Let's see. Apple has to pay $95 million in settlements.
Ooh.
Are you going to get any of that money? You and I are certainly not, because we are not Apple people. But anyway, we'll tell you who might get a few bucks. Break for the markets. We're back with more on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Throw the ultimate grad party with help from Outpost Smokehouse. We're talking brisket, ribs, sausage, and smoked chicken. All the crowd pleasers. Enter the diplomas and down-home barbecue giveaway with News Talk 1250 KBRF. You can text Outpost to 321-1926, 321-1926, or visit the News Talk 1250 KBRF Facebook page. Your party guests will thank you. Diplomas and down-home barbecue with News Talk 1250 KBRF.
Are you summer road trip ready? If not, Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls can help. They have the all-new Chevy Corvette E-Ray and the Chevy Corvette Z06 in stock, as well as a couple of beautiful pre-owned Corvettes. Curious about electric vehicles? Stop by and check out the Chevy Silverado EV and the Blazer EV. Contact the sales team for more information on these great vehicles. Chevy, together let's drive. Minnesota Motor. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Protect your livelihood with a livestock risk protection policy through Egg Country Farm Credit Services. With an LRP policy, you're covered if the market price unexpectedly drops for fed cattle, feeder cattle, or swine. Coverage options range from 70 to 100%. Get an LRP policy from a team that knows agriculture. Contact your local Egg Country office to learn more. Egg Country, focused on ag, focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender and provider.
Markets this hour brought to you by Ag Country Farm Credit Services, a customer-owned cooperative.
Good morning market update on the Red River Farm Network. I'm Randy Conan, grain markets. A little back and forth action going on here right now. We're mixed. Corn on both sides. Beans are slightly higher. Wheat, both sides here this morning. Ever Ag market analyst Britt O'Connell says right now the grain trade is all about the weather.
And across most of the United States, the weather has been pretty amicable to getting this crop in the ground and kind of off to the races. Weather in Brazil has been very cooperative for that safrinha corn crop. And so that seems to be the focus of the market right now.
Two-sided market going on in the livestock trade as well, seeing a bit of a correction.
Yeah, livestock market, that feels like one of those markets where it's just up and away. And today we've got a bit of a mixed trade on fats. The front end of the curve is showing a little bit of strength. The back end is just barely trading in the red. But we continue to see tremendous strength across the board there. Feeder cattle are a little softer this morning, but, we've traded over 300. Cash remains incredibly strong across the country. And so as a result of that, this is a market that feels well supported for now.
Cash cattle trade pretty quiet here this morning as well. Asking prices continue to be around $224 to $225 live. Nothing established in the addressed market as of yet. No bids as far as we can see so far either. Cutouts are expected to be mixed today on light to moderate box movement. The Dow Jones Industrial Average currently 77 points higher. That's at 42,218. This is the Red River Farm Network.
I'm a mom with 3 young kids. I'm married to a rancher who I felt like was gone all the time. I was overwhelmed, feeling like a single parent with no help or support, and started to resent the ranch. After sharing my thoughts and feelings with my husband when we were both calm, he heard me, and now we work together on ways to plan ahead for the busy times, so I'm more aware of what's going on the ranch. It's still a crazy busy life, but I feel like we are partners again.
You add the value to North Dakota agriculture. This effort is associated with North Dakota's State Suicide Prevention Program.
Does spending all day learning about crops sound like a dream vacation? We'd love to have you join us at the free Ag PhD Field Day. I'm Darren Hefty. On Thursday, July 31st on our farm near Baltic, South Dakota, we're having our biggest field day yet. More equipment, more plots, more great speakers, plus the crazy trials where we push crops to their limit. We also have free entertainment and fantastic food for the whole family. Plan to attend the vacation of your farm's lifetime, the Ag PhD Field Day. Learn more at agphd.com.
Listen for Crop Watch every Tuesday during Agriculture Today on many of these Red River Farm Network stations. Each week, we'll travel a different part of our listening area and report what farmers, crop consultants, extension specialists, and crop experts have to say. Join us each Tuesday, 12:37 for Crop Watch. Great way to hear about crop and weather conditions all across the Northern Plains. Crop Watch, sponsored by Ag Country Farm Credit Services, Hefty Seed, Irie Insurance Agency, and Proseed.
The Red River Farm Network is reporting agriculture's business with the markets, farm news, and weather information you need each and every day.
Again, hats off to you, Don, and the Red River, what you guys do connecting your listeners to what's happening and people and telling stories. You guys are doing an awesome job at it. So thank you.
That's Greg Peterson, better known as Machine Repeat. The Red River Farm Network can be heard from Worthington to War Road, from Bismarck to Bemidji, 23 radio stations, and online at rrfn.com.
July wheat, Minneapolis is down 6 1/4 cents, 574 1/2. Chicago July wheat 3 1/4 cents higher, 520 1/2. Kansas City July wheat 3 1/4 higher, 515. July corn up 3/4 penny, 443 1/4. December corn's down 1 1/2 at 439 1/2. July soybeans 3/4 penny higher, 1073 1/4. November soybeans up 1/2 at 1060. July canola in Winnipeg down $5.60 a metric ton, 723.70 Canadian. June live cattle down 7 cents, 216.25. August is 57 cents higher. August feeder cattle down 65 cents at 305.35. September down 50 cents. June lean hogs down $1.35. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Don't wait until your garage door sounds like this. Easy Open Garage Doors here to help. Whether you're in need of repair or a new opener, or maybe it's just time to replace the whole door. Make it easy and give Easy Open Garage Door a call, 770-DOOR.
Why are interscholastic sports called the last classroom of the day? Because they teach students important life lessons like teamwork, accountability, and perseverance. School sports are so much more than a game. They're about developing the whole person. That's why they're an essential part of every student's education.
Encourage your student to participate in the last classroom of the day. Interscholastic sports in Minnesota. This message presented by the MSHSL and the Minnesota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Discover unforgettable deals at FergusFallsDeals.com. Grab certificates from Tavuli or Lakes Inn at Dunvilla. Perhaps explore unique finds at Bearded Dad and Joanne New Age. Save big on entertainment with tickets from a Center for the Arts. And enjoy great offers from Running Stitches Embroidery, Elevate, and even Odyssey Steel Inc. New deals drop often. Shop and save big at FergusFallsDeals.com. At FergusFallsDeals.com.
Interested in saving money and energy? Otter Tail Power Company makes it easy. Right now, get instant savings on LED bulbs at participating Minnesota stores. No paperwork required. LEDs use 75% less energy and last up to 20 times longer than traditional bulbs. Look for the Otter Tail Power sticker on store shelves and start saving today. Visit otpco.com/LED to find a store near you.
Summer weather can change quickly, and that's why you can count on News Talk 1250 KBRF and the Fergus Now app for up-to-date weather coverage. We love hearing from you and want to see your severe weather photos, whether it's hail, storm damage, threatening clouds, whatever it might be. To submit your summer severe weather photos, go to kbrfradio.com, then to Weather Spotter page located on the Weather tab. Summer severe weather coverage on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone. A forecast for today, looking at a high of 88, 64 for tonight. So we're going to start to see the rain coming in late tonight. We're talking after 4 in the morning, so late tonight. It's going to rain tomorrow. Very rarely do you see the 100%, but it's going to happen tomorrow. Not a lot, but quarter to half inch here tomorrow. Then it's going to continue to rain off and on for Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, and should start to dry out Saturday night. But it's going to be a cold one Saturday night as we're going to top or bottom out at around 37, Mary.
Yikes.
37.
Okay, so I bought $150 worth of plants yesterday.
Bring them inside.
Yeah, I'm going to be very careful with them. They are hunkered down in a place out of the wind right now.
Yeah.
But I think as the weekend comes around, they might go on the workbench in the garage. So they'll get a little south sun through the window, but I won't have to worry about rain or cold. Just have to worry about somebody watering them.
Morning Talk Magazine brought to you this morning and every morning by our friends at Pioneer Care and at Fergus Monument Company.
Okay, well, if you have an Apple product, and we don't.
I've got an iPod.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't even have that anymore. I have to say, and you're gonna be ashamed of me.
Shame.
Yeah, I'm tempted next phone to go iPhone. And now people are cheering. Finally, she's coming around.
Traitor.
And then you're going, oh my goodness, what are you thinking?
Traitor.
I know, and I don't want to.
No.
Because it will be the only Apple device I have. My thinking is that I've got a grandson who lives in Arizona.
Yep.
Got great grand who is only in Fargo, but it sure would be fun to FaceTime a little bit more.
You can do video calls.
I guess you can. It's not as easy. I have done a video call.
You just click video call.
Yeah. Okay.
And
does it matter if they have Apple on the other end?
I don't know. I could test it with Adam tonight.
Okay, you need to test that for me because everybody in my family has Apple. Just because everybody, they wanted to be able to FaceTime and they wanted everybody on the same platform. So
yeah, it's given me the option to video call them.
Okay.
I just brought them up in my contacts. So
okay.
But I'll test it tonight. Adam's got an iPhone.
Well, maybe I need to give that a try too. That would be the only reason I would need to change because I don't want to learn anything new. I am so frustrated even when they send an update to my phone and something is different. Like they sent an update to my phone, I don't know, last week. And all of a sudden, all of my icons are different, not even recognizable.
Oh, yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, where's my camera? Where's my camera?
And they all turn blue.
It's right there, but now it looks different.
Yeah.
My calendar, where did that go? Oh, it's here, but it looks different. So stop it. Just stop making changes.
As somebody who's been on my boys' iPhones where they're like, here, you do this. And I'll like hit out. I'll like, for some reason, back out of something that they're showing me. And I'll try to bring it up. And I'm like,
and you can't.
No, it's like, I just hand it to them. I'm like, here.
Me too.
Here, you figure this out.
Okay, but now with this latest update, and for those of you who are, have smartphones, usually you can do this and you can drag it, it down from the top and it gives you all the stuff you want. Look at this. Nothing happens.
See, that's why you got to have a phone as old as mine.
Drives me crazy. Okay, so but guess who taught me how to take care of this? My 12-year-old granddaughter. Oh, Grandma, just do this. So I understand that now if I draw it down from, the right-hand side, I hope I'm doing this, then I get what I want. But, okay, so why do they do that? Why could we not just draw down from the middle like always before? Now you can only from one corner. Who makes those changes and why? I would like to put my hands around their throats.
Somebody had to justify their salary for the day, so they decided to program that into the phone.
I tell you what, I screamed out loud in my car this morning when I was sitting there trying to do one thing before I left the cabin. And do you think I could get to that? I couldn't get to my, hotspot. And I needed to send an email from the cabin, and we don't have internet out there.
Yep.
So then I just used the hotspot on my phone. Do you think I could get to the hotspot? No, because I didn't know I had to draw it down from the corner. I mean, it wasn't broken. Just don't fix it. Makes me crazy. I think I'm just old dog, new tricks. I'm done with new tricks.
You're going to hate the iPhone then.
Okay, then forget it. Never mind. Forget what I said. I'll try a video call tonight. If that works, I will never say that again. Thanks for talking me out of that.
I talked you off the ledge.
Yeah, you sure did. Okay, here is an Ohio guy. Oh, boy. And I'll tell you, we were talking phones.
Yep.
I'll talk Apple in just one sec, okay? But I saw this story, and before I forget to tell you about it, an Ohio man has been accused of checking out 100 books. That's a lot of books.
Yep.
From the Beechwood Public Library, and then he burned them.
That's not cool.
The alleged book burner reportedly posted a video of himself in the act on social media. Well, the Beechwood Police Department is not commenting on the investigation, but Ohio State Senator said, following in a May 9th statement, I condemn this act not only because it is a crime against our institutions and community, but also because it is fundamentally un-American. The books that were destroyed reportedly covered topics including Jewish history, African American history, and LGBTQ education. So just because you don't agree or you don't like the topic of the book doesn't mean you can check it out and burn it. It's somebody else's property, for one thing. Anyway, here's just one more sign of people behaving badly times 10.
Yep.
We used to have things like that make us mad or angry or, just feeling badly about that. And why did they have to have these books here or there, or whatever? Not these specific books, but sometimes we just don't agree, But we don't go to the lengths that people are going to today. We don't check out books and burn them.
No.
It's against the law.
Plus, you're stupid because you videoed it.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, anyway. So it just doesn't seem there's just no boundaries anymore. Okay, so back to Apple for a moment. If you are that Apple person, if you owned an Apple device anytime between 2014 and 2024, you might be eligible to file a claim as part of a class action lawsuit.
Nice.
I would say good luck, but whatever. The tech giant has been accused of spying on users. While Apple, of course, denies the allegations, those who experienced an unintended Siri activation during a confidential or private communication. Now, this is between September of 14 to December 31st of last year. They can file a claim by visiting, there's a big, long address. How much could each individual receive? Well, get this. Don't even bother. That's why I didn't give you the address. There's a $20 cap.
Wow. $20 cap, which means that's the highest amount.
Per Siri-enabled device. So if you have multiples, individuals can file for up to 5 claims for a maximum total of $100. Yeah, I would probably not bother with that deal.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Willie Nelson is celebrating Farm Aid. Remember that?
Yeah.
40th anniversary. Going to be a star-studded stadium show. It's going to be held in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Farm Aid will mark its 40th anniversary with an expansive show at Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Where's that?
That is if I remember right.
Is that on the college campus?
Yeah,
or
that's the college stadium.
Okay. Anyway, it's going to be September 20th, featuring performances by festival founders Willie Nelson, Neil Young, and John Mellencamp.
Oh.
So the music legends will be joined by a stacked lineup featuring fellow Farm Aid board members Dave Matthews, who will be playing a set with Tim Reynolds. Let's see, who else we have? Madeline Edwards, Jesse Wellies, and others still yet to be announced. Family farmers are the heart of this country, and we depend on each other for good food and strong communities. Willie Nelson said that in a statement. This year, we're proud to bring Farm Aid to Minnesota to celebrate the farmers who sustain us and fight for a food system that works for us all. Family farmers aren't backing down, and neither are we. The event will kick off a year-long celebration of Farm Aid with ticket sales for the 40th anniversary show starting May 16th, so this Friday. So if that's something that you would like to attend in Minneapolis, start watching, do a search for Farm Aid, and on Friday you'll be able to start buying tickets.
I just double-checked. Yep, that's the new, it used to be a different bank stadium, but now it's Huntington Bank.
U of M?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Because it's confusing because where the Vikings play is U.S. Bank Stadium, and then there was a different bank that the original U of M campus was named after, and then they just switched it to Huntington Bank. So,
okay. I have somebody supporting me on the phone change thing.
Lies.
She says, no, just that we can't stand when they change your phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She says, I'm with you on phone changes. My kids say it's just because you're old. Nope. She says, stop making changes and have a good day. Yeah. So
I'm all for stop making changes.
Me too. I mean, and stupid changes. Now, if it's a huge technology upgrade,
That's one thing.
That's one thing. But just where I have to use my finger on the right-hand corner instead of the middle top. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, well, I'll stop complaining about that. Hey, wanted to just give you, speaking of updates, give you a quick update. We talked with Mary from the American Legion about the Wednesday special, and she was going to have those JoJo wedges, those seasoned wedges. Well, somehow there was some glitch in the salesman and ordering it, and they did not come. And she tried a second salesman. He was not able to deliver those this morning either. So there is an update on the Wednesday special, and you're going to like it. Rib sandwich, potato wedges, coleslaw, and a treat.
Nice.
Sounds pretty good to me. So thanks, Mary, for sending that. All right. This, speaking of food, is the most ordered food in America. What is it?
Tacos.
Try again.
Pizza.
Yeah. I knew it would be one of those two.
It'd be one of the two, yeah.
Okay. Pizza came out on top. Of the people that took this little poll, 29% said pizza is their go-to choice. 28% said that they order pizza once a week. And 10% said, nope, we order it more than once a week. And then Tex-Mex was the next in line. So tacos, I think, fits in there. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. My go-to takeout, what would that be? We do socials takeout a lot during the winter.
I do the Viking Cafe a lot. I do Hunan a lot.
That sounds good. Yeah. I'll drive through for like a sub sandwich now and then. That's kind of a go-to for lunch. But if we were gonna get to-go food, I like those take and bake pizzas too. We do that. They have that deal on Tuesdays where they're like $12, and so that's a pretty good deal for a large pizza. So I would say
another take and bake option would be Fresh and Fancy. Mama Sheena's down the street. They do a lot of take and bake.
Yeah, they have and you
great pasta.
Yeah, and lots of different varieties and really interesting things too. Lots of good sandwiches. Okay. Well, anyway, pizza, that's no big surprise. The most ordered food in America. Why not? Do you have a favorite, if like one of the chains that if you were ordering pizza to go, where would it be?
It used to be Pizza Hut, the meat lovers on thin crust. That was my absolute favorite. And then, I'd have to say Domino's.
Yeah, you're a Domino's guy, right?
Yeah, Domino's. I really like their stuffed crust, but it's so small. It's a medium.
Pizza I really love?
Who?
Casey's.
Casey's has got really good pizza.
Wow. I mean, heart attack in a box for sure, because it's about an inch and a half thick with cheese. Oh, it's so good though. Their breakfast pizza.
Yep, I was gonna say their bacon breakfast pizza.
Oh boy, wouldn't you give just about anything for a slice of that right now?
I'm not gonna lie. Every once in a while on my way in, I'll grab a piece.
Do you? Oh goodness, that sounds really good. Yeah, none of the ways that I come bring me. Well, I could come in one way and go by a Casey's.
Yeah,
I'm starting to get a little frustrated with road repair. My whole trip is messed up this year. Okay, so I take off and head toward the cabin. Now 94.
Yep.
Going to the cabin, going
that's all messed
west.
up.
That's all messed up right now. Starting this next week, going the other way, coming into town, that's going to be all messed up. Then I have smooth sailing all the way to Pelican, I think. Then I get into Pelican, and
Still working on that.
59 now at the north end of Pelican is a light. So it goes to one lane open. And so it's one lane at a time. So either the traffic moves north or the traffic moves south. Never the two shall go at the same time. So you drive through town and you hit a light, either green or red. And that's how you get through it. So that's how they send the traffic back and forth rather than having somebody stand with the slow sign and the stop sign. Okay, so I had somebody tell me the other day, I drove to DL and I went through that and it was a breeze. It took just a couple of minutes and I was on my way. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll try that. On my way home on Monday night, I thought, I'm going to give that a spin. I did that and I stopped at the light. It was red and it was red. And it was red, and it was red. Oh my goodness. I thought my head would explode, and it went on and on and on. Finally, I just turned around and went back to 108. Okay, so that worked until today. Now, going off 59 east on 108, there's a section, you can't go there. So now there's another detour. Oh my goodness, I thought last year was my terrible year, but I think it's going to continue.
Wow.
I know. And the whole way home. I might just start out on County Road 3 and take that all the way to the lake. So I don't know what.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Time for 2 quick questions.
Yep.
They're both really hard. Shakespeare. What did Shakespeare leave his wife in his will?
Nothing.
His second best bed. What?
Wow,
Nice guy. Okay. Which of Shakespeare's plays involves a pound of flesh?
Hamlet?
That's what I thought too. The Merchant of Venice. I remember hearing about a pound of flesh. But
I've heard of get your pound of flesh, but
yeah, I had no idea which play it came from. So 0 for 2, that makes me kind of happy, actually.
Hamlet's kind of stabby, so.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, that is going to wrap it up on Wednesday, middle of the work week. One more hot day, and then, get your jackets back out because it's going to
be cold.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for joining us. Our show today and every day brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Falls Monument Company. Have a great Wednesday.
If you're building a new house or shop this summer, Easy Open Garage Door in Fergus Falls is here to help you pick the right garage door for your new build. Call today for a free estimate. Commercial or residential, make it easy with Easy